People keep talking about BEE laws like they are some kind of obstacle or unnecessary interference for business. Let's be clear here. These laws are not designed to punish anyone. They are designed to make sure that South Africa lives up to the promise in its constitution, to make sure that equality, dignity, and opportunity aren't just words on paper. The country's history created systemic economic imbalances that did not disappear overnight. Without corrective measures, those imbalances would continue to grow, and the same small group of people would control wealth and influence while the majority remains excluded. BEE is a structured legal framework to make sure that everyone gets a fair chance to participate in the economy. It is not about making life difficult for companies, it's about creating a predictable system where economic transformation actually happens, where ownership and management and procurement practices are aligned with constitutional principles. Businesses may feel inconvenience or argue that it limits profits or slows down decision making, but the reality is that these laws are scaffolding for a society that is equitable and sustainable. Without them, any growth is likely to reproduce the inequalities that the Constitution aims to eliminate. They are not a barrier. They are a mechanism to bring fairness into the system and make sure that the economy reflects the values the nation claims to uphold. Another point that gets overlooked is how BEE creates certainty and stability in the economy. Some companies claim it is a hurdle because they think that it adds bureaucracy or interferes with their operations. The truth is the opposite. Without a framework like this, investment becomes unpredictable, markets remain exclusive, and inequalities deepen. If a business thinks that it can operate in South Africa without engaging with transformation measures, it will eventually face instability or resentment or even legal pushback. BEE creates clear rules, clear obligations, and transparency. It ensures that historically marginalized groups gain not just token representation, but real influence in decision making and ownership in their country. That is not just morally right, it is economically smart. By embedding these principles into the economy, the laws create a wider base of stakeholders who can meaningfully participate in consumption, investment, and management. This expands markets, it strengthens internal capacity, and reduces social tension. It also helps companies plan ahead because they know the environment is structured and regulated. Every company that complains about BEE without understanding its purpose is missing the whole point. These laws operationalize the Constitution and guarantee long term resilience for everyone in the economy, including the companies themselves. It is about building a system, right, that works for more than a small elite and is ultimately in everyone's interest. Ignoring this reality is short sighted. Some businesses act as if complying with BEE is optional, as if they can just try to maximize short-term shareholder profits while avoiding their responsibilities. That approach is dangerous, not only legally, but strategically too. The laws are not random or arbitrary. They are carefully designed to correct the imbalances apartheid left behind. Ownership quotas, management targets, and procurement standards are all aligned to ensure the Constitution's socioeconomic goals are achieved. If companies see them as temporary inconvenience, they fail to understand that economic transformation is not just about charity, right? It is about stability and fairness. A healthy economy is one where more people can participate meaningfully, they can make decisions, and they can create value. BEE ensures that the economy does not remain concentrated into the hands of the few. Ignoring it may feel convenient in the short term, but over time it erodes legitimacy. It creates social friction and even scares away investors who value stability and inclusion. It is a framework for operationalizing the Constitution, for making the principles of equality, dignity, and justice real in economic life. Businesses must recognize that they are not being penalized for existing, they are being asked to play a part in creating an economy that is stronger, more equitable, and more resilient. That is not a sacrifice, that is a duty. And fulfilling it benefits everybody. The misconception that BEE stifles innovation is also completely wrong. Some argue that meeting these requirements slows down decision making or interferes with creative strategy. The reality is that innovation does not happen in isolation. It thrives in diverse environments where multiple perspectives are considered, where historically excluded voices finally have a seat at the table. BE does not prevent creativity or growth. It expands the range of minds, experiences, and ideas that contribute to business solutions. Companies that integrate BEE thoughtfully often find new markets, more engaged employees, and stronger community relationships. And these are not small benefits, they are strategic advantages. By operationalizing inclusion and fairness, the laws encourage businesses to think about sustainability, long term planning, and accountability. Without them, the system favors only those already in power, and innovation becomes narrow, repetitive, and disconnected from the majority of consumers. BEE forces companies to adapt to a real diverse market, and that is not a hindrance. That is preparation for resilience. The laws are not barriers, there are a framework to ensure that businesses grow within a society that is stable, fair, and inclusive. Complaining about inconvenience misses the larger picture. BE is not about limiting profit. It is about creating an economy where growth is sustainable, widely shared, and legally anchored in the Constitution. Companies need to understand that ignoring BEE is a threat to the legitimacy of their entire system. Compliance is not optional because the Constitution's socioeconomic rights demand it. These laws give real effect to equality, dignity, and access to opportunities for those who are systematically excluded. They provide predictable and enforceable standards, ensuring that transformation is not left to chance or voluntary initiatives. Businesses that resist these laws are resisting the Constitution itself. That does not make them clever or efficient. It makes them short sighted. Economic success without inclusion is fragile because it rests on imbalances that can erupt as social tension, as regulatory backlash, or even legal challenges. BE creates a level of accountability that supports both society and long term business stability. By integrating transformation into ownership, management, and procurement, companies not only comply with the law, but they actively participate in building a fairer, stronger economy. And that's not punishment, that is a responsibility and a privilege to contribute to a nation where growth is shared, where justice is enforced, and opportunity is accessible. Companies that accept this and adapt strategically will thrive far more sustainably than those who try to avoid it. And that is the reality. That is why BEE is not a deadlock. BEE is a mechanism through which South Africa's constitution is realized and businesses ignore it at their own peril.